Today is all about surfactants. This is another video to my Formulating for Beginners series. So if you're new here, what's up? My name's Tara. I make skincare products. I sell them on Etsy. I share with you guys what I know about formulating skincare products here on my channel. Sometimes we'll make hair care products. I highly suggest going back, well, actually go down, click in the description box to the link to my playlist for the Formulating for Beginners series and watch all the other videos in the series first before watching this one. That way this video will make a lot more sense. If you're a beginner or new here, I will most likely say some words that you don't know what they mean. Like if you don't know what aqueous or anhydrous means, then yeah, go back, watch the rest of the videos so this video can make more sense. That way I don't need to explain a lot of things to take up more time in this video because I've already explained them in past videos. All right, so I will be referring to my blog I wrote for this video the entire time in this video. Because if you didn't know, self-promo, because a lot of you guys do not know about this, because I'm constantly getting new subscribers, so I need to remind you guys, so I'm not trying to be annoying. But I do have a Patreon. Over on my Patreon, I post 2 exclusive videos every single month. And I currently have over 35 videos already on my Patreon. So if you do sign up for my Patreon, you will have like at least 35 videos to binge watch that you've never seen and not many other people have seen. So cool, awesome. I also write a blog that goes along with like all the recipe videos I do here or any like informative type videos like this. I'll have a blog that goes along with it. So you can literally just read it instead of sit here and watch me and listen to me because my voice can be annoying sometimes. I can talk fast. I'm not perfect. Sometimes it's better and easier to learn through reading something than watching somebody talk fast. That's me and mispronounce words all the time. There is an alternative to looking at me the whole time. Also, sometimes the blogs will have more detail than I discuss in the videos. I also suggest like alternatives to ingredients. I explain the ingredients more in depth, and I also have an option so you can download the blog and then like print it out, so then you always have it so you don't have to like refer back to videos. So there's lots of stuff over there. You can also message me on there anytime with questions and I'll respond because as I say all the time, I receive so many messages from you guys and I can't keep up with them and it makes me sad, but you know, it just ain't possible. So anyways, surfactants, here we are. Welcome. If you don't know what they are, they're confusing, so get ready. So, surfactants are the most important ingredients found in cosmetics. I'm sorry, but I'm basically going to be reading word for word from this blog. We just doing it this way, it's easier. Surfactants are the most important ingredients found in cosmetics. They help achieve what the product is trying to do. You may not understand surfactants fully when you start learning about them, but that's okay. They're confusing. With experimenting and practice, it will all make sense, I promise. So what are surfactants? Surfactants, short for surface active agents, can do a variety of things for cosmetics. They are emulsifiers, cleansers, foaming agents, thickeners, solubilizers, wetting agents, and more. An emulsifier is an ingredient that blends oil and water together. A solubilizer makes an ingredient soluble in a solution that it may not be soluble in. So for example, an emulsifier will blend sort of like a larger amount of oil, like 20% oil with water. A solubilizer will solubilize like maybe like 1, maybe 5% if you're lucky and got a good solubilizing agent, and make that soluble in water, and the product will stay in a liquid state, as opposed to emulsifier, emulsifying like 20% oil with all the rest of the percentage of water will make it more of a lotiony like texture. And I'll talk more about emulsifiers and solubilizers in my next video because I already got the blog written out, so hopefully that'll be up soon. A wetting agent helps increase spreadability, so it will help like spread a lotion on the skin, that kind of stuff. Surfactants are the most important ingredients in a skincare product because they help achieve the product's purpose. There are 4 different kinds of surfactants. So basically, like a surfactant in the face wash is what makes the face wash cleanse the skin. It's what makes the body wash cleanse the skin. It's the surfactant doing that activity in the product. Or for like moisturizers, a moisturizer is an emulsified product, and without having an emulsifier, which is a surfactant, you can't have a lotion. Same with conditioners. Conditioners are emulsified products. Without a surfactant, you can't have a conditioner. So surfactants, how I like to think of them, are essentially the ingredients in a product that makes the product kind of what it is. So there are 4 different kinds of surfactants, and it's okay if you don't understand them at first. I promise with time you will really understand what they are and what they do, and especially after experimenting with the different types of surfactants will really help understand what they all are. There are anionic, amphoteric, nonionic, and cationic. Those are the 4 types of surfactants. Each of these surfactants are used in a variety of different products and are very important to understand. The surfactants you decide to use in your product heavily depends on what your product's purpose is and what the product is trying to achieve. So like I said earlier, if you're making a face wash, you need a surfactant that cleanses and foams. If you're making a moisturizer or lotion, conditioner, cream, you need a surfactant that emulsifies. Yeah, let's talk about each of the surfactants now. So anionic surfactants. This type of surfactant has negatively charged ions. You don't really need to understand too much about like the whole negatively charged ions. There's only one thing you need to remember about the negatively charged ions is that negatively charged ions are not compatible with positively charged ions. Trust me, that'll come into play here in a minute. Anionic surfactants are most commonly used as the primary cleansing agent in products like face washes, body washes, bubble baths, shampoos, typically any type of product that cleanses and foams. This is because anionic surfactants are great cleansing agents. They help lift and suspend oil and dirt from the skin or from the hair. And they essentially are the best surfactant at doing that. So anionic surfactants are typically more harsh on the skin, which can cause irritation, and this is why they're commonly combined with nonionic surfactants or amphoteric surfactants. And they're combined with nonionic and amphoteric surfactants that also cleanse and foam. So combining anionic surfactants with either nonionic or amphoteric surfactants can help reduce the irritation or even help increase lather and foam. Even though anionic surfactants can be irritating, the reason why people use them as the main surfactants in things like face washes, body wash, shampoos, bubble baths, I almost said bubble wrap, is because they are the best kinds of foaming agents. They cleanse the best and they also tend to be the cheapest. So that's another reason why huge corporations will use anionic surfactants, because they are cheaper. And that's also why us small business owners reach for them as well. They are essentially cheaper, but that's not the only reason why. It's because they do foam better. Like if you want to make a bubble bath, I can only suggest using anionic surfactant as your main surfactant because you really want those big bubbles in a bubble bath. And same with shampoos. At least me personally, like I really want a shampoo that lathers really, really well. So I really need a good anionic surfactant in that shampoo to get that really good lather. But when it comes to body washes, I could sort of like deal with a little bit less of a lather in body washes. Like it doesn't need to be as lathery as like a bubble bath or a shampoo. But I will still use an anionic surfactant in body washes because I do want a good lather. But you don't necessarily need to. It's really up to you and what you want to achieve and what you like. Examples of anionic surfactants are sodium lauryl sulfate. The short name is SLS. This might sound familiar to you. I feel comfortable saying this is the most common anionic surfactant that people avoid. It causes irritation for a lot of people. I personally can't even use it. It breaks me out in a rash. I can use it in shampoos. I've probably used it in body washes fine too. It's been a while since I've used it in a body wash, but I know bubble baths with it give me a rash, but that may not be true for you. But yeah, it does cause irritation for a lot of people. But for a lot of people, it doesn't. I guarantee most people you know are probably using SLS on their skin every single day. It's different for everybody. Ammonium lauryl sulfate, ALS for shorts, sodium cocoyl isothianate, SCI for shorts, sodium lauryl sulfosate, probably pronounced that wrong, SLSA for shorts, and AOS 40. So those are all examples of anionic surfactants that, in my personal opinion, lather very, very well. Out of all of those, I'll give you my favorites. I really, really like SEI. I've used it on my channel a number of times, and I really, really like AOS 40. That one lathers very well as well, and it's not harsh at all, and neither is SEI. SEI is commonly sold under the name baby foam because it is such a mild anionic surfactant. And I don't mean mild as in it doesn't lather up a lot. I mean mild as in it won't irritate your skin. So even though anionic surfactants are more harsh, not all of them are, and not always will you experience irritation from them either. But yeah, even though most anionic surfactants are cleansing agents, there are some that aren't cleansing agents. Some are emulsifiers, like Retamulse SCG. I use that all the time. This is an all-in-one EcoCert emulsifier, and it is an anionic surfactant. Like I said, anionic surfactants are supposedly more irritating. That's not always true because Retamulse SCG is not irritating at all. It's even EcoCert. Foaming apple, foaming oats, foaming soy. These are all anionic surfactants, but the downfall of these three that I just mentioned is they don't lather up as well. So like I mentioned earlier, SCI and AOS 40, those being my two favorite anionic cleansing surfactants, those do lather very, very well and aren't irritating. As opposed to the foaming apple, foaming oats, and foaming soy, these aren't irritating either, but they don't seem to lather up as well as the other ones I mentioned earlier. So when you are trying to look for a primary anionic surfactant to use in like face washes, body washes, shampoos, all that kind of stuff, you want to buy a few different anionic surfactants and try them out, see what you think. And also, some of them kind of depend, like SCI is a powder, so this might not be as good to use in something like a face wash or a body wash that's a liquid, so AOS 40 would be a better choice. So amphoteric surfactants can have either a positive or negative charge, depending on the pH. In acidic solutions, they become positively charged. In alkaline solutions, they have a negative charge. So amphoteric surfactants can be mixed with any other surfactants. So amphoteric surfactants are more mild and more gentle than anionic surfactants. They are most commonly used in cleansing products like shampoos, body washes, and face washes. Amphoteric surfactants can help make anionic surfactants less irritating on the skin. They can enhance lather by making bubbles smaller and feel creamier. Amphoteric surfactants are much more mild and gentle on the skin, which is great, but unfortunately they don't produce as much lather as anionic surfactants do. So they aren't as good to use on their own for products like shampoos and bubble baths. They are also more expensive than anionic surfactants, which is another reason why anionic and amphoteric surfactants are commonly used together. So you could use an amphoteric surfactant as a primary surfactant. Cocamindopyrrolbentane, I don't know if I say that wrong, so sorry if I do. Cocamindopyrrolbentane could honestly be used as a primary surfactant in a face wash. It lathers up pretty darn well. And you could like combine it with a non-ionic surfactant. But you don't necessarily always have to use an anionic surfactant as your primary surfactant. It really just depends on what your personal preference is. Now, when it comes to things that, like I mentioned earlier, rely on lather, like especially bubble baths, like the whole point of a bubble bath is to make big bubbles. I wouldn't suggest an amphoteric surfactant as your primary surfactant in a bubble bath because you're just not going to get those big bubbles that you would get from an anionic surfactant. Examples of amphoteric surfactants. Woo! I'm not even going to try to say them. I'm just going to put them here on the screen for you. And I will also link in the description box to all the examples surfactants I mentioned in this video. I'll also link to some other sources I use to learn about surfactants and just anything else I think would be informative to you. I'll link it all down below. That way you can just read more about surfactants if you want. Moving on to non-ionic surfactants. Non-ionic surfactants have no charge at all. No charge. So that means they can be used with any other surfactants. Doesn't matter. Non-ionic surfactants are most commonly used as emulsifiers and solubilizers in cosmetics. They work great at preventing the separation of water and oil. There are also some non-ionic surfactants that lather, foam, and cleanse. The reason they aren't typically used as the primary surfactant in cleansing products is because they don't lather up and cleanse as well as anionic surfactants or even amphoteric surfactants. They are more gentle on the skin, which is why they are commonly used in baby products and facial products. It is very common to pair anionic surfactants with non-ionic surfactants to reduce the harshness of anionic surfactants. There are some non-ionic surfactants that cleanse and foam, but also help solubilize oil into water. For example, cocoa glucoside and decoglucoside. I use cocoa glucoside on my channel all the time. This is a great surfactant. I personally like to use it in like face washes. So you could use like an anionic surfactant and then use cocoa glucoside as well. And then you won't even need to implement a solubilizer to solubilize your fragrance oil because the cocoa glucoside will actually do that for you. Just add the fragrance into the cocoa glucoside and mix, and there you go. The cocoa glucoside works as a foaming agent. It makes the face wash more mild by milding, is that even a word? Milding down the anionic surfactants, and it will also solubilize your fragrance. And I believe decoglucoside does the same exact thing. I've never worked with it, but I know it's very, very similar to cocoa glucoside. So cocoa glucoside and decoglucoside, they are both gentle, they have mild lather, and they can solubilize roughly 1 to 3% oil. I could be wrong. I've never actually tested the max amount it can solubilize, so you tell me if you know. But I'd say 1 to 3% oil, you're probably safe. So cocoa glucoside and decoglucoside, they really don't lather up very much. I like to describe their lather as kind of like a creamy lather, sort of like condenses the lather down, which I personally really like for face washes. So examples of non-ionic emulsifiers are emulsifying wax NF, Polawax, Olivum 1000, Montanov 68 MB, glycerol stearate, sorbitan oleate, and glycerol oleate. Examples of non-ionic solubilizers are polysorbate 80, which can sometimes also be used as an emulsifier. I'll talk more about emulsifiers and solubilizers in my next video, like I mentioned, but we'll put it in the solubilizer category for this video. Polysorbate 20, Polysugamols D9, Polysugamols D6, Sunflower Solubilizer, Tegosolv 61, and Formulator Sample Shop Supersolv. I think I pronounced that right. Examples of non-ionic foaming agents is cocoa glucoside and decoglucoside, like I mentioned earlier. Okay, now moving on to cationic surfactants. So cationic surfactants are positively charged. Like I said earlier, anionic surfactants are negatively charged. So cationic and anionic cannot be mixed together. They will destabilize the formulation, so you can't mix the two together. Cationic surfactants can help condition, soften, and even emulsify oil and water. Cationic surfactants are commonly used as the primary ingredient in hair conditioners to condition, detangle, and soften the hair. Since the hair has a slight negative charge when wet, the cationic ingredient sticks to the surface of the hair by static attraction. The positively charged cationic surfactant is attracted to the negatively charged wet hair. The conditioner is therefore difficult to remove from the hair, so it smooths down the hair and coats it, making it easier to comb. So that's essentially how a hair conditioner works. And like I said, hair conditioners are made up of cationic surfactants. So again, like I mentioned earlier in the video, surfactants are literally what makes a product do what it does. So cationic surfactants make hair conditioners a conditioner. Some cationic surfactants even act like emulsifiers and can be used as the primary ingredient in moisturizers to blend water and oil together, and will also help soften and condition the skin. So even though cationic surfactants are used in hair conditioners, you can also use them in lotions, moisturizers, creams, and they will help emulsify your water and oil together as well. And they really add this like soft, like conditioning feel to the skin. They definitely impact a different like sensory feel in the skin. So examples of cationic surfactants are BTMS 50, which I've used a lot on my channel, Verisoft EQ65, ICE Hair Restore, Cream Maker CAT, and ICE Conditioner. But yeah, so conditioners are made with cationic surfactants, and lots of lotions can also be made with cationic surfactants. So how do you know which surfactant you need? I've sort of already talked about this, but let's read what I wrote. Whenever you go to make a new product, one of the first things you need to decide is what surfactants you need and which you want to use. This process can become a lot easier as you learn about more ingredients. If you're making a cleansing product like a face wash, body wash, shampoo, or bubble bath, then you know that you need a cleansing surfactant. But which do you reach for? Anionic, non-ionic, or amphoteric? Well, if you're making something where you want lots of lather and big bubbles, such as a bubble bath or a shampoo, then you want to reach for an anionic surfactant and pair it with an amphoteric surfactant. Nonionic could also work too, but I normally use an Anionic with an Amphoteric in bubble baths and shampoos. I find that Amphoteric surfactants lather more than Nonionic surfactants. Now that may not be true, that's just my experience out of the surfactants that I've personally used. So as for body washes, you may not need as big of bubbles as a bubble bath or a shampoo, but you still want a good lather. So I recommend an anionic surfactant with either a nonionic or amphoteric surfactants. A face wash may depend on your skin type though. And also your hair type can determine which surfactant to use as well. You want to try like different anionic surfactants in your hair to see which your hair likes the most, because your hair isn't always going to like every surfactant, and it's not going to like it just because it's anionic. It is really important to test out different surfactants to see what you like. Just because I like AOS 40 doesn't mean you will. So yeah, a face wash may depend on the skin type. If you have dry skin, then using just a non-ionic surfactant could work, or an amphoteric paired with a non-ionic surfactant. So you can make a face wash with just cocoa glucoside if you have dry, sensitive skin, and that works totally fine. It won't lather and bubble up a lot, which I don't think you really need for a face wash. But it's a lot more mild and gentle on the skin. It won't like strip your skin of all of its natural oils, so that would be a lot better for your skin if you have dry skin. If you have oily skin, you may like that squeaky clean feeling, so you may want to use an anionic surfactant with either an amphoteric or non-ionic surfactant. Like if you're making a face wash and want to add in like 2% oil, then pairing cocoa glucoside with an anionic surfactant would be good, because the cocoa glucoside will act as your solubilizer for the oil you're adding in, or maybe you want to use fragrance oil in it or something like that. I mentioned earlier there are some more mild anionic surfactants like foaming apple. I personally don't find that this ingredient gives that squeaky clean feeling though, but rather a more gentle and hydrating cleanse you would find from a non-ionic or amphoteric surfactants. So do keep that in mind. Like I keep saying, it's important to experiment with different surfactants so you know how they work and which you prefer using. So as you can see, the main purpose of a face wash, body wash, or shampoo is to lather and cleanse. So without surfactants, you wouldn't even be able to make any of these products, which goes to show that the main thing you need to make these products are surfactants. Say you want to make a moisturizer. Moisturizers are water and oil emulsified together using an emulsifier. So if you're making a moisturizer, you know you need some kind of emulsifier, which most commonly are non-ionic surfactants, although there are some anionic and cationic emulsifiers as well. I know this is confusing, but I promise with time and practice, it will all start to make sense. So other things to mention: anionic and cationic surfactants, like I've already said, can't be combined. Since cationic are positively charged and anionic is negatively charged, they cannot be used together. This will cause a failed formula. Although there are a few exceptions to this rule, some cationic surfactants are specifically made to work with anionic surfactants. For example, honeyquat is a cationic surfactant, but it has been designed to work with anionic surfactants. You can typically find this out by reading the formulating guidelines provided by your supplier. So examples of cationic surfactants that are fine to use with anionic surfactants is, like I said, honeyquat, hydrolyzed proteins, and polyquaternium 78. And I'm pretty sure like any other polyquat is fine to use as well. So I'm asked all the time, how do I know so much about ingredients? And just small disclaimer, I don't know everything about all the ingredients, and there's definitely a crap ton of ingredients out there that I know nothing about. Literally, I learned all of this by just going onto these suppliers' websites and reading about the ingredients they have. So obviously we don't have the brain power or time to go through all the ingredients that these suppliers offer. But click on like the surfactant tab or the emulsifier tab and click on some of the ingredients that sound familiar to you. Maybe ones that I've mentioned, maybe ones you've seen mentioned somewhere else, or maybe ones that just spark your interest. Grab a notebook and write notes about them. Read the description that the suppliers provide and write notes on things that seem important to you about those ingredients. Like, are they anionic, amphoteric, non-ionic, cationic? Write that down. Write their suggested usage rates. Write anything that seems important to you And that is a great way to learn about different ingredients that you don't know about. It really is so much easier to actually take notes on the things you're trying to learn rather than just like reading it and then just getting overwhelmed and just being like, oh gosh, this is so much information. I'm never going to learn this. Or like reading it and being like, yeah, I get it. I'm going to remember all this. You're most likely not going to. It's better to take notes. And I even suggest a lot of you guys to take notes while you're watching my videos because I talk about a lot of stuff. I end up going on rambles and tangents. So just take notes on what you think is the most important. And that's why I always have blogs that go along with these videos because it takes out all the rambles, you know? Some people like the rambles because sometimes the rambles are more simplified and make more sense than like the written out explanation I have in my blog. So it's all personal preference, but highly recommend getting a notebook and taking notes over things because you will learn so much more. And even if those notes you took don't even make sense, I promise after you go and experiment and then come back to those notes, they'll make so much more sense. That's happened to me so many times. When I first learned about surfactants, I thought I understood it, but I didn't. I was like, oh, this is super confusing, but I think I understand. And then a few months later, I was like, oh, wait, now I get it. And honestly, I still don't know everything about surfactants. I'm not a chemist. I never went to school. I don't really know the whole real chemistry behind all of that. So now I want to recommend surfactants for different products. So this is just a general idea on what surfactants to use in each type of product. Of course, this isn't what is required. This is just a general idea. Face washes, I suggest anionic, amphoteric, or non-ionic surfactants. Body washes, I recommend anionic, amphoteric, or non-ionic. Shampoos, I recommend anionic and amphoteric. Bubble baths, I recommend anionic and amphoteric. Hair conditioners, obviously, are cationic. You can't really have a hair conditioner without a cationic ingredient because when you think cationic, just remember condition, CC, cationic condition. That's how I kind of go about it. And then moisturizers, lotions, and creams, you want either cationic, non-ionic, or in only one case that I know of, anionic, because Retamulse SCG is the only anionic emulsifier I know of. So that is all I wrote about surfactants. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope this was informative. If you don't understand it fully right now, that's totally okay. I recommend taking a break, take a step back from this video, maybe come back to it tomorrow, next weekend, watch it again, take notes. There's nothing wrong with going through and watching something first without notes and then coming back, watching it again or reading it again and then taking the notes. That's typically how I like to do it. I like to read it all or watch it all. That way I kind of know what's going to happen, what's going to be presented, what information is going to be brought up. And then when I go back to it again, then I can go to it kind of with a mindset of knowing what to expect and what I think is most important and all that kind of stuff. Or subscribe to my Patreon, self-promo here, and yeah, get access to the blog and then you can just read it and you don't have to listen to me talk and ramble again. But yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed this installment to my Formulating for Beginners series, and I'll see you guys in my next video. I don't know if it's going to be for the series or not, but the next video in this series will be emulsifiers and solubilizers. So yeah, get ready. Talk to you guys next time. Later. Stardust Bath & Body, Nature's Farm Girl, Kennedy's Essentials, LettsBlend, Wildflower, Heartfelt Beauty, KAJ Bath & Body, Blue Mint Soaps, Salt Air Label, Linny's Beauty, Shark City Naturals, Ohana Lay, Danny Botanicals, Hempy Girl, Brie Maquillage, Alchemy and Clay, Bible Belt Boutique, London Latris, Naturally Flawless, Beauty by Riza, Job Spa, Facial Daily Rituals, and Amore Bath & Beauty. I also sell skincare products myself over on Etsy. I'll have my Etsy shop linked down below, along with all my lovely patrons.
I'm stuck in the motions. I've been consumed by the wrath of time like I'm I'm shattered in this life. It's still the path that I've chosen. Because I've had a vision, now I'm on a mission to find myself.